Good evening and welcome to the Wednesday, May 28th City Council meeting. We will call this meeting to order and we will begin with the Nisenan tribe recognition. Councilmember Fleming.
We acknowledge that the Nisenan people are still here among us today, though nearly invisible. We understand that we are on Nisenan land that was never ceded and that the original tribal families have yet to recover from their near genocide of their people. As a resident or visitor in Nisenan land, we support the Nevada City Rancheria Nisenan tribe in efforts to stabilize their people as well as their campaign to restore federal recognition.
Thank you, Councilmember. Vice Mayor Klein, if you would lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I'll do that.
Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much, Vice Mayor. Madam Deputy Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilmember Ceci.
Here.
Councilmember Fleming.
Here.
Councilmember Fernandez.
Here.
Vice Mayor Klein.
I'm here.
Mayor Peterson.
Present.
All members present.
All right, no closed session. So adoption of the agenda. Now's the time for any agenda modifications. If you'd like to make changes, pull consent items, or have any recusals. Looking for a motion to approve the agenda.
I move that we approve the agenda.
Second.
Moved by Councilmember Fernandez, seconded by Councilmember Ceci. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. And then we will begin with a presentation for LGBTQ plus Pride Month 2025, and this will be handled by Councilmember Ceci. You're on.
This is a proclamation of the City of Nevada City. Whereas, on January 26, 2022, the City Council issued a proclamation proclaiming every June in Nevada City as LGBTQ plus Pride Month. And whereas, on May 24, 2023, the City Council officially recorded and established the policy direction of the January 2022 proclamation by adopting Resolution 2023-23, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Nevada City, California, establishing every June in Nevada City as LGBTQ plus Pride Month. And whereas the Council honors the history of the LGBTQ plus liberation movement and supports the rights of all citizens to experience equality and freedom from discrimination. And whereas all human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights, and LGBTQ plus individuals have had immeasurable impact on the cultural, civic, and economic success of our county and our city. And whereas this nation was founded on the principles that every individual has infinite dignity and worth, and this City Council calls upon the people of this city to embrace this principle and to work to eliminate prejudice and discrimination everywhere it exists. And whereas the City of Nevada City, in its strategic plan, is committed to the values of embracing and promoting diversity and creating a safe, just, equitable, diverse, and inclusive Nevada City. And whereas acknowledging the need for education and awareness is essential to end discrimination and prejudice and promote visibility, dignity, and equality for all. And whereas celebrating Pride Month influences awareness of and provides support and advocacy for the LGBTQ plus community and is an opportunity to take actions and engage in dialogue to strengthen alliances, build acceptance, and advance equal rights. And whereas the LGBTQ plus community, especially transgender, non-binary, and gender-expansive people, continues to face rising threats, including targeted political attacks, increasing hate crimes, and efforts to roll back hard-won rights across the country. And whereas Nevada City recognizes that silence is not neutrality and reaffirms its commitment to standing in solidarity with LGBTQ plus residents, youth, families, and allies in the face of this growing backlash, ensuring that our city remains a place of safety, dignity, and inclusion for all. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Nevada City in support of the LGBTQ+ community, hereby recognizes and proclaims June 2025 as Pride Month, and invites those who live, work, and visit our community to take part in the many events, including flag raisings, marches, picnics, and parties, not only in celebration of Pride, but in active solidarity with the ongoing struggle for LGBTQ+ justice, safety, and equal rights.
Thank you, Councilmember Cece. Well read. Okay, next up, public comment. Government Code Section 54954.3 provides that any member of the public may address the city council on any matter not on the agenda that is within the subject matter jurisdiction of the city. The Brown Act, with limited exceptions, does not allow the council or staff to discuss issues brought forth under public comment. The microphone is open for public comment.
Good evening, Council. I'm Rachel Haynes, Public Sector Services Manager of WM. I want to tonight introduce Alex Zalaski, who is our new District Manager for the area. Alex.
Hi, nice to meet you all. I'm excited for this opportunity to service the Nevada City community. I've been assisting here with WM for the past 3.5 months or so, and I received the great opportunity to have the job permanently just a couple weeks ago, and it's the job I really wanted. I'm excited to get started and get to work and service our community. Currently, I am living in Sacramento, but in my short time here, I've really grown to enjoy this area, and I'll be moving up here in the next few months, or next couple months, actually. So that's something that's exciting to look forward to, and nice to meet you all.
Thank you. Good to meet you.
Welcome.
Other public comment? Seeing none, we will close public comment. Move to the consent agenda. All items listed under the consent agenda are considered to be routine in nature and will be approved by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items. Before we take action on the consent calendar, we'll hear any public comment on consent calendar items only. Do we have any public comment on consent items? Seeing none, I am looking for a motion to approve the.
I move that we adopt the consent calendar.
I'll second that.
All right, roll call, please.
Councilmember Cece,
Yes.
Councilmember Fleming,
Yes.
Councilmember Fernandez.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Klein.
Yes.
Mayor Peterson.
Yes,
Motion carries 5-0.
thank you. All right, moving into the business section. First up, consideration of the special event request from Bear Yuba Land Trust and Sierra Trailblazers for the Champion Mine Trail Run, October 12th, 2025. Presented by Lon. Lon, where are you, Lon? This is what happens when you sit in the back.
Man at the door.
I work
Door
here.
needs manning.
Well, thank you for having us. I'm Annette Muller from the Bear Yuba Land Trust. I've been here before. This is,
I'm Mike Turner with the Sierra Trailblazers Running Club here in town.
we are here to present this half marathon that we're proposing for October 12th, 2025. We're super excited about it. So the Sierra Trailblazers came to the Land Trust. They had this great idea to do a half marathon. They wanted it here in town. And I was, of course, all on board. They wanted to use some of the trails we manage, the city streets, the county. So we have been busy planning for the last couple months, trying to figure out how to do this thing. Really excited. So we have a route map. So we actually met with Sean Grayson. What? Okay.
She's pulling up the route.
Okay, yes, you'll have to see the route map. We met with Sean Grayson a few months ago to kind of discuss this, to go over the plan for traffic, to go over the route, to kind of discuss who to get in contact with. And yeah, we've been, like I said, busy doing all of that. So the plan is to start at Miners Foundry. We've been working with Lon here, who's been really gracious. It's so wonderful that you all have taken that building on. Very exciting. So it would start there and end there, and we really wanted the run to go up Broad Street because we wanted to really highlight this town. We really thought it'd be a great draw for people. We're expecting a lot of people from the community, but also slightly outside of the community, so we thought it'd be a really good draw to get people out here. Run up Broad, so that's the plan. It's going to start, so it'd be early morning up Broad, so not to disrupt too much business and traffic, and then out kind of, and maybe Mike, if you want
Yeah.
to kind of talk about the route?
Yeah, so again, our vision was to embrace both the history of town and also the outdoor trails and stuff that the area provides. So this kind of route is perfect for what we're looking for. Starting right in Miners Foundry, and we would run down, so you'd leave there, and you would run down Spring Street and around counterclockwise, going around the National Hotel there, and then up Broad Street. I'm going to open my map up here. Up Broad Street, right through town. We'll have a half marathon and a 5K. So you got walkers and runners. So this is the half marathon route. We don't have a map of the 5K route, but it'll be something a lot smaller. So pretty much we'll run into town. If I can stand up, show you. We'll run out American Hill Road. This will give us some distance to come to get some miles in under our feet. Also help spread the pack out a little bit so the runners can get ahead and the walkers can kind of be back a little bit. Then we'll grab the Champion Mine Road right here, and we'll head all the way up Champion Mine Road to Newtown Road. And that's a nice gravel section, so we can open our legs up, get some movement under our feet. At the end of Newtown Road, it's about mile 5. We'll have an aid station, which is pretty much 2 tents, volunteers. We'll have electrolytes and water and some snacks. All of our volunteers will be there, so we can grab some snacks for the runners and water and such. Then we head back into town on the Newtown Ditch, exploring some of the new trails that you guys have recently completed. So we're excited to try to weave in a lot of those different routes and those new features. Once we get back into town, we will go down towards the Nisenan Tribute Bridge, cross the bridge, and then go into the trail system south of the river here. And that'll include, zipping around to different places, but we'll include this 1 mile loop around this area here. And then we'll have an aid station at Seven Hills School. So that'll be around mile 9.5. Again, drinks, electrolytes, snacks and such. And then from there, we'll head back into town, cross the bridge, and then head back into Miners Foundry.
Okay.
And that is the route. So we're excited about, we think the route, again, provides a nice balance of, city streets, history, road, gravel, and single track. So we think it's a really nice balanced route. And the 5K, we'll do something short, probably Miners Foundry, down to the Tribute Shell Bridge and back.
Yeah, and we've been in contact with the county, so we submitted an encroachment permit, got a CHP to submit a letter of support for us. We've been in contact with Lynn with the chamber, who's also very, very excited about this, who's giving us some resources. We might do a food truck out on Spring, we're not sure. We've also been in contact with the Nevada City Winery, because you all share the parking lot with them. They're also excited. We're going to try to partner with them. They might open up their space a little bit earlier, provide some maybe some opportunities for people to get involved there. I also wanted to say, can you talk a little bit about why you wanted to do this run and the interest around?
Yeah, so I have been trail running a long time, about 10 years. I've done all distances, even as far as 250 miles. Don't ask me why. Wow. It's a long story.
Like on every weekend.
I mean,
that's
I get into my 40s and got the bug. But I have a couple of adult daughters, and one of my daughter's friends wanted a half marathon, a trail marathon, and I was thinking about it. I know a lot of distances, but I don't know a lot of shorter introductory distances, intro to trail running, hikers and stuff. So I really felt there was a void in this area for this distance. We have great trails. So I said, we need to organize a race. And then I'm familiar with the Land Trust and all the trails that they do. So I just thought it was a perfect opportunity for our club, which is a nonprofit. By the way, we've been around since the late 70s. We were called the Sierra Slowpokes. And then, so we've been around for a long time. So I just thought it was a perfect opportunity to produce a local race for the community where we can have, people can be their first time. Our club also will have a 12-week training program that people can sign up for. So if you've never run a half, you could get in our program and every week we'll expose you to new trails, follow our program, and you can be able to do it yourself. So it's about community, it's about people discovering friends and the trails, and we believe that, outside and trail is physically good for your health, but also for your mental health. We think it's great. So we think this will really bring community, and if we have an annual event, we think it'll be beneficial for the Land Trust and for the city, and just for everybody in general.
We'd love to make it annual if it, yeah,
Here,
if it
here.
goes well. So.
So with that, do you guys have any questions?
The application I saw had some questions for Sean. Did those get answered? They're about street closure and how widely to distribute the notice.
We talked in our meeting, yes, we did talk about this. It was mostly talked to Lynn, the county, and working with the local police. So we're going to not shut up any streets, just direct traffic.
Yeah, like direct traffic. I think it's going to be because October 12th, it's before the daylight savings change, so it'll be darker. Sunrise is just before 7 a.m. So we want to start early, but we probably will start like at 8 because we want people to park in the light and not have to be walking around and gathering in the dark. So we'll probably start at 8. But people will be out of town by 9, even 8:45, we'll be out of town. So
And
that
then
way,
back only on
Yeah.
spring back there, right?
yeah, so that way we will.
And that's a Sunday or
A
something?
Sunday, yeah, and we talked to the city, and then all the other events going on, we want to make sure we didn't coincide with something else, but, so it'll be just a short closure, short, soft closure in the morning for an hour.
How are you going to handle crossing this suspension bridge?
Carefully.
Right. Walking, I believe.
Yeah, definitely, we are going to enforce walking. We were on the north side, we'll have a water station, which is just like a couple of people providing water, but there'll also be people that'll be like reminding people, because if you go across, if you don't have the
Oh,
right
yeah.
balance, it kind of, so we'll, whatever number, whatever capacity, we will have somebody there the whole time to enforce, whether the capacity and the speed will make folks are walking across that.
I'm really excited just to have another race in Nevada City. There used to be the Grand Prix series, right? And,
Yeah.
we used to run that all the time, and there hasn't been anything on these trails,
Yeah.
And so this is really exciting to bring it back and actually have it in our city, so thank you for that,
Yeah,
that's
we're
really
excited,
exciting.
yeah.
Yeah, and then also commemorating the foundry, that's another good use for the foundry.
Yeah.
Thank you,
That's
Ron.
thanks to, yeah, that was Lon's offering.
It's a
Yeah,
requirement of our special event permits.
you gotta use the foundry in anything you do outside. But no, thank you so much for putting this together. I think it's a great idea. I think you'll have more than 100 people.
Yeah, we think so. Yeah, the feedback, the excitement's been pretty big. I think bigger than we thought.
Yeah, I work with a
right?
lot of local race directors since I've been running a long time. I used to have a running podcast. I've done a lot of things related to running. So, we could have, we want to cap it at 300, but we'll probably have, it could be equal 50-50, the half marathon and the 5K people, because we usually get a lot of 5K draw. So it may be 150 of each. That would be our cap that we're looking at.
Yeah. Well, the turkey trot will get up to 1,000 people, so.
Yeah.
There is a potential to do that. So I can probably make a 5K with a little walking, but I want to train for the half.
Yeah, we'll have a program.
I will
It's
join
already,
it.
we'll send you, we'll get your contact, we'll send you a link to
I
the sign
love
up.
Good, we'll be well represented.
Don't look for any good times for me, though.
All right, let's see, we have any public comment on this?
Ray Bryars, I live in Nevada City. I'm a huge supporter of the Land Trust, but I'm a little concerned that in October it gets wet, and I want to make sure you call it if it's too wet for the trails. Call it off, that is.
That's fair.
Thank you.
Good comment. Thank you, Ray.
Comment? Yeah.
Observation.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay. All right, well, any other comments from,
I think it sounds great.
yeah, it's good. Looking for a motion.
I move that we review, approve, and authorize a special event and street closure request for the submitted application.
I second.
All right, motion by Councilmember Fleming, second by Councilmember Fernandez. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Cece?
Yes.
Councilmember Fleming?
Yes.
Councilmember Fernandez?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Klein?
Yes.
Mayor Peterson?
Yes,
Motion carries 5-0.
thank you.
Best of luck.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
It's a good use of our space. It's a good use of our space.
Yeah, no, it's great. All right, let's see. Next up, consideration of the introduction of the draft ordinance 2025-05, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Nevada City, State of California, amending Chapter 5.32 of the City of Nevada City Municipal Code regarding licensure of tobacco retailers, and 2, calling for a public hearing for the first reading of the ordinance, June 11th, 2025. Says the chief is on for this. We got a few other folks. Let's have it.
Hello, Mayor, members of council, and I think we're gonna go to the PowerPoint here in just 1 second. So I'm gonna allow our partners here to kind of go through a short PowerPoint and present this the best way I think possible, but we're just doing a quick update for the ordinance. Tobacco laws, things that we consider tobacco are no longer even tobacco so much anymore, so tobacco has changed dramatically, and this ordinance is just reflecting with the change in the tobacco ordinance. Primarily, what I would say is we're trying to keep this out of the reach of kids. A lot of it is targeted towards kids. It's flavored. It's very easy to get into. It's not harsh, so it's really easy to get the addiction real quick and harmful for our children. So here's the PowerPoint. I'll turn it over to our esteemed guests, and we'll go from there.
Hello, thank you for letting us present tonight. My name is Shannon Glaus. I use pronouns she, her, and I'm the Tobacco Prevention Coordinator at Public Health. And
my name is Graham Gardemeyer. I'm just her intern. I'm a junior at Nevada Union High School, and we've been working on this ordinance together.
Nice.
yeah, so as you see, we are Clear the Air Nevada County, and this is a brand new coined logo and branding for our Tobacco Coalition. We just rolled that out this year, and we have a brand new website that goes along with it to see through the haze of big tobacco. And so that's what we're here today to do, is also just look at updating the TRL. And what I guess I need to advance the slide.
If you put it at this right here, it should work. Oh. Let me make it work.
So just to give you a little background, I first want to applaud Nevada City. In 2006, you were the first rural city in California to pass a tobacco retail license. And so that is very progressive. And again, we revisited it in 2016 because that was the time when e-cigarettes came out, and so we again looked at updating the tobacco retail license to include all of the tobacco products, including e-cigarettes, and at that time we also put a cap on tobacco retailers in Nevada City at 4. A fifth one snuck in there in between the voting, but they have since are no longer selling in Nevada City. So again, I just applaud Nevada City for being forward-thinking in adopting a tobacco retail license. And so now, here we are, 2023, and again, big tobacco is up to its evil ways and still inventing more flavors. And so again, we would like to update or recommend that you update the tobacco retail license to include all of the flavor ban that was put in place by the state in 2020. And again, just recognizing that we have a vaping epidemic on our hands in this last 10, 15 years that e-cigarettes have been out, and now they're evolving into nicotine pouches to even be more sneaky. So at every turn, they are looking at ways to hook our young people on one of the most addictive drugs, which is nicotine. So here is part of the issue with the flavor ban, is that before they would be named such things as grape ice or watermelon banana ice. And since the flavor ban, the tobacco companies thought they would be clever and say that they weren't selling flavors by saying it was a color.
Jesus.
And so now we have devices out there that are being sold as colors, but in actuality, they are still flavored tobacco products. So you can see where this can be confusing for tobacco retailers to know what is allowed and what isn't allowed. And so that is what we have seen here in Nevada City, is that even though the ban has been in place for 2 years, retailers are quite confused and are being told by their wholesaler that this is on the list and that it's allowable because it's not flavored, but yellow, if you were to smell it or taste it, would be banana, strawberry, daiquiri. And so there's just this crazy roundabout happening that the manufacturer removed the flavor description on the packaging, and then the state government says, well, it's really up to the retailer and the jurisdiction to know what their law is, and then the retailer is just caught in the middle saying, well, I got this from my wholesaler, I thought it was good. So again, just updating our tobacco retail license would make it much more clear, and they are supposed to be putting out a list by the FDA of what is allowable, and so I would offer up that I could act as a resource to our retailers for less confusion. So again, another tricky thing that they are trying to do is that a lot of things will say that they don't have tobacco in them because they have created a synthetic nicotine or analog nicotine. And so here it just shows the chemistry and how they've created this, and they're actually getting around some of the tobacco taxes because they're saying that they have synthetically made nicotine that isn't derived from tobacco, so that they don't need to pay tobacco tax. So again, this is an important piece because these type of nicotine are very strong. One vape device can give a person anywhere from a hit of 3 milligrams up to 9-10 milligrams. 40 milligrams is considered to be toxic for an adult. When someone smokes a cigarette, they're smoking 1 milligram from start to finish. A young person can hit a vape 3, 5, 10 times in the amount of time it takes to smoke 1 milligram of a cigarette. So you can see how addicted our young people are becoming off of these products.
Right. So the other part of this ordinance is on school proximity. So the photo we have up there is of Silver Springs High School, of course, in Grass Valley. What opened over there was about 430 feet from the door of the school to a newly opened smoke shop. So in Grass Valley, this is a graphic that police officer Zach LaFerriere, who worked on the ordinance in the city, put together. In Grass Valley, they set a 500-foot limit, making it so that these smoke shops would not be allowed to continue business within 500 feet. Of course, any existing schools, any existing smoke shops that fall under that distance would be allowed. They'd be grandfathered in until they change ownership or violate the terms of their license. So right now, this isn't a super major issue in Nevada City. We're proposing in a 1,000-foot distance. This is really more of a proactive measure to make sure that in the future, nothing like what happened at Silver Springs will happen here in Nevada City. So far, 127 California towns, municipalities, including Grass Valley, in 30 counties regulate the density or the proximity of tobacco retail sale venues in some manner. So, for example, Loomis, Rancho Cordova, Ron Hurt Park, Santa Cruz, Rockland, Vallejo, they all have a 1,000-foot distance from youth-oriented facilities, which we have a definition for in the ordinance. So it's certainly not anything incredibly new or radical in that sense. The other piece is nitrous oxide. It's become an increasing issue. We haven't seen it so much in Nevada City like with the other parts of this ordinance. It's largely proactive. So we're getting it before it approaches. It was a problem in Grass Valley before we passed that ordinance over there. So recently there's been a massive rise in the use of nitrous oxide among all people, especially young people. They've been explicitly advertised towards the youth. This is a picture Officer LaFerriere over in Grass Valley took of a nitrous canister. Miami Magic. It's virtually a replica of a Grand Theft Auto cover. Can't be much more explicit in the advertisement to the youth. So that being said, there are a bit of complications with this particular issue. Nitrous oxide is, of course, used in whipped cream, for dentistry, a bunch of different things. So it's hard to do a wholesale ban. But in some sense, attacking it from a recreational manner, making sure that it's not in the hands or easily accessible to children like myself or to anyone, is a major component of what we're hoping to do here. Also, state and federal government isn't necessarily always the fastest moving form of transportation when it comes to legislative action. So there has been no regulation, there is no legal age for nitrous oxide, meaning that I can currently buy it off of Amazon, buy it from a liquor store, buy it from a gas station. And without any action from the city level, that will continue to be the case. This is another picture Officer LaFerriere took over in Grass Valley. What's that, something like 150 nitrous canisters, all of them about 2 liters, and this was from one smoke shop. So it causes neurological damage, oxygen deprivation, vitamin B12 depletion, psychological dependence, addiction, mood disorders, as well as impaired motor skills. At the meeting in Grass Valley, we had a doctor come and speak to some of the things he had witnessed within the community. And there's been some cases of people like so addicted to the substance, they drive up in their truck, out of it, and they're so out of it they can't go to the liquor store, pick up the thing themselves. So what they do is they just lay down on their horn, wait for someone to bring it out for them, load it in the back of their truck, and drive off with the nitrous. So it's an increasing issue. It's definitely very terrible and something we want to address in the city before it becomes an issue.
Yep, and thank you. And if you have any questions.
All right,
So if I could add something real quick, Mr. Mayor. So this is just introducing it. It hasn't come through any of your committees or anything, or the recommended action for you tonight is just set the public hearing for us to bring this back to you for first reading at the next meeting. Just speaking people's name. I came from my last stop before I got to come back home. Thank you for hiring me to come back here. Was in Rialto.
liberated you.
So the long-sitting council member there, Mayor Pro Tem Ed Scott, his son Miles Edward, we called him Eddie Scott, was killed in a single car accident on Interstate 10 in San Bernardino County, California. 1 week after he earned his high school diploma. After the driver of the vehicle he was a passenger in passed out while inhaling nitrous oxide.
My goodness.
So these are, he mentioned that we don't see this much here, but you see it everywhere, and its impact, it only takes one time, right? So doing this, it will make a meaningful difference so that there's not, another Eddie. So just want to share that.
Thank you. Thank you.
And it didn't come through a committee, but it did come through the mayor, didn't it?
Yes.
Thank you. Graham? Okay. It did. You did a great-
I believe you.
They cornered me. They ganged up on me. It was great. Let's take public comment first. Okay, so any public comment on this item? You know how it works.
Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Am I on? Yeah.
Is the light on?
Might have my glasses. Is the light on? There's an orange light on. Does that work?
Perfect.
Mr. Vice Mayor? Yeah? You can hear me okay? Okay, great. Good evening. I'm John Baggett, Superintendent, Nevada City School District. Isn't it great to see Graham Gardenmeyer up here? He was a former student of mine as principal. Great to see the support for our community through Graham and others here as well. I'm here tonight to speak in support of the efforts to restrict youth access to harmful substances and to voice support for the proposed Nevada City ordinance that would establish local oversight and regulation of tobacco product sales. Specifically, we'd like to see the ordinance include the enforcement of existing state law prohibiting the sale of flavored tobacco and vape products, particularly those intended for the use of primary electronic smoking devices. A ban on the sale of nitrous oxide, as Graham was speaking, for recreational use in retail settings within the city limits. And lastly, the zoning restrictions of 1,000 feet from schools. We are seeing, obviously, a huge uptick in vaping through the Prop 64 grant. We do have vape detectors in bathrooms and lots of work that we've done to support students and their health and eliminating or reducing vaping. But there's a lot of access. We can't control a lot of the outside. Sometimes kids get vapes and such from parents or from friends and such, but this will at least eliminate some access. Flavored vape products continue to be sold illegally over counter in some stores in our county, despite being banned by the state law. These products often use the child-friendly flavors, as Shannon was talking about, packaging and making them especially appealing to youth. Research from the CDC shows that the nicotine exposure harms brain development, which in education we're very concerned about brains and their development, and increases the likelihood of addiction. The addiction is a real thing. We see kids over the years, over the last decade, I've seen kids that are truly addicted. When we put vape detectors in the bathrooms, they just run out into the woods. And we're like, why did they leave school? And it's really because they're addicted and they needed to get a hit. We're also seeing a rise in recreational misuse of nitrous oxide, or whippets, you may have heard them call whippets, among teens, which carries serious health risks, including nerve and brain damage. The ordinance is an important step to protect our young people and strengthen the community and our community health. Thank you for your leadership and commitment to this issue. Thank you.
All right. Other public comment?
Good evening. My name is Jasmine Berard. I'm currently a student at Nevada Union High School and the treasurer of my FNL club. I've seen this problem with nitrous oxide firsthand, and it's really relevant in the community, especially at school and just in general. I think this ban could really benefit everybody and could really help the schools. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Ray Bryce, I'm one of the local folks who pick up trash on Wednesdays. And the number of butts in this town is amazing. And anything you guys could do, I'd like to suggest you get a group together to work with Shannon, the gang, to even up your game in terms of reducing smoking and all the other things. When I come into town in the evening, it smells like an ashtray. It really is getting bad. There's a place over here on Commercial called Elixir, I think it is. They're sitting on the deck puffing all sorts of weed and pot and God knows, it's not good. anything you can do to help Shannon and the gang, great. Thank you.
Other comments? All right, seeing none, I will bring it back to the council for comments.
Yeah.
Who would like to go? You go.
Yeah. First of all, thank you to the young people. Is it Jasmine? Jaslyn and Graham, thank you for being here. Thank you for being so proactive in local government. This is your town and your future, and the more you're here, the more we can be a representative government. So thank you. Graham, should you want it, you might have a bright future in politics, policymaking, lobbying. Fantastic work. Thank you so much. And Shannon, thank you. I'm glad you made it here to this seat. Thank you for your persistence. Thank you for your patience. I'm glad this is in front of us, and I'm super excited to support all of this.
Doug, you want to go?
Sure. You know, I have a son at Nevada Union. He's a freshman now, and he has told me that sometimes he cannot go into the bathrooms because there's, 10 people vaping. And they have these things that are not just branded as, flavorful attractions, but they have names like Geek Bars. So Geek Bar it's this huge thing, and I seen adults use it too, but if the kids are inhaling that stuff, it's just so toxic. And then the Zyn, is it the Zyn pouches?
Yeah.
That are just, straight up nicotine, and they have ones that are supposedly just caffeine too, but it's all just new delivery systems for poison, for our kids. And so I really appreciate what you guys are doing. It's a big, big job. But we certainly have to be in the forefront of not allowing, certainly nitrous. Grass Valley just banned it, here. It's the least we can do. You can still get it online. But, one of the things I was going to ask about, so Bonanza is one of our retailers?
Correct.
Would that be considered, would the Foundry be considered a youth center or anything else? Would that be?
Not under the definition that's.
Not under the current definition, okay.
Yeah, and everything is currently grandfathered in, so it would only be if they changed ownership or again violated.
Sure.
And here, if they change ownership, they lose their license. So ours are a regressive cap. So that's when Cosmic Roots went out of business, then that you went from 5 to 4.
Yep.
But I don't think the other 4, it's public information. It's Bonanza, it's the 2 gas stations in town, and it's SPD. Those are the 4.
Yeah. And, if they sell to underage, if they sell to youth, that would certainly violate their.
The law?
Yeah, the law and their charter. So if something like that happened, they could lose their license to sell tobacco, right?
They could lose their license, it could be revoked if they're violating the law, yes. I will say that our 4 providers are very cooperative with us every time we do come in. I think where the confusion comes in, if anything, is they rely on their retailers, and they kind of go, well, if the retailers are selling it, how is it illegal type thing, because they change the name, and it gets confusing for the suppliers, But when we go in and then communicate, hey, no, this is illegal, and this is why, they've always been very cooperative with code enforcement and law enforcement on abiding by it. And we've not seen or not experienced any youth selling from, I don't want to say it doesn't happen, but I think that our retailers are pretty responsible. And a lot of the problems that some of these come from, thankfully, we're avoiding so far because smoke shops are some of the major culprits of some of these issues.
Yeah, but we don't allow those. So, anyway, thank you guys, really appreciate it. Anything we can do to help.
Thank you.
Well, the problem is definitely here. I came across 2 depleted nitrous oxide canisters during a recent hike on the Tribute Trail. I would definitely like our ordinance to say, don't care if you don't know it's not flavored. It is flavored. You're out.
Here, here.
I want that to be a quote.
The legal terminology behind that.
Yeah, I've kind of been sheltered from all this. I didn't know this is all going on.
Of course you have.
Not a surprise to anyone sitting next to me. Thanks for all the work you're doing. It's disturbing. It's disturbing that this is even an issue. I remember when I was a kid, just the increased awareness of like, oh no, cigarettes are really bad for you. and they make you smell terrible, and they're super expensive, and that's the trifecta of I don't think I'm interested. So that they're changing the game and flavoring them and so forth. It's just it's evil, and I appreciate you doing this. My one question was, do we have places in town that are selling this stuff? And Chief, you feel confident that the retailers at least are not selling them to kids?
We have run into, not to kids, we have run into, especially with the whippets, because sometimes even the retailers, I think, get confused. I've seen the whippets with the nitrogen oxide there, sell it as, hey, this is how you make whipped cream. And they'll sell it almost in the dessert section. And people will buy it. And the store owners actually catch on pretty quick, like this 33 people aren't making whipped cream today, you know?
That'd be a
And
hell of a
it's
party.
very cheap, and it's a very quick high, and then they do, but again.
Well, you need a device to be able to access the.
And I've seen it more for the adults. We've seen, that's across the board, that one's being abused pretty heavily. So, what I guess I'm focusing on is they are working with us. So when we're seeing it in our town, we saw it in our town a couple months ago, we did contact the retailers and say, hey, are you guys selling this? I don't think so. We'd look through their inventory and say, hey, this is really bad, and they're working with us and getting rid of it. So it's, as they mentioned, the big producers are doing everything they can to trick everybody to get their products into the hands of whoever they can. So it's a multi-step approach. We have the law to support us. We have our enforcement officers. We have Shannon here that's going to go out and help us communicate with the retailers and say, hey, this is what's legal, this is what's not. And people are, for the most part, supporting it.
Is there any kind of mechanism for, this is a pure hypothetical, an 18-year-old high school student, are there limits to an 18-year-old high school student going into a smoke shop and buying a ton of flavored vapes and then taking them to school and selling them themselves? Is there any kind of limit to how much an individual can buy?
I don't know if there is a limit.
Well, it's 21 and older for one.
They're 21? Okay.
And they are all legal, so all of that would be illegal and then they'd be selling to a juvenile, so yes, there'd be multiple violations. And then I would imagine just through the school system alone, if they were a student, school's gonna get them for selling tobacco products in the school grounds, which that'd be John more than me, but I would believe all schools have a tobacco ban in general, so if they're selling tobacco products, yes, they'd be violating multiple rules. And then if they're not a student there, then that's even a bigger issue, that there would be all kinds of trouble for that person.
Well, I'm happy to support this, but upset that it's necessary.
Can I ask you a question? What is the school doing about, because I've asked this to my son and he says nothing, but what is the school doing about the bathroom situations?
Shutting them. We're not allowed to go in them half the time.
That's right.
Or they leave the door open, or they have these smoke detectors in there, and they don't work.
They got the different kind, and John got the good kind. They got the
And it worked, and actually,
Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna,
oh, sorry.
yeah, okay. I'm gonna wrap this up. Okay, because we have a big agenda. So, reserving the final word for the mayor. Yeah, we're totally all for this, but just something more. Shannon, you're doing such a great job with you and your team with the young folks. And I had the great pleasure of attending the Youth Awards ceremony on Saturday, put together by Graham, and I worked with Graham on this. And I said it then, and I'll say it now, you are not the leaders of tomorrow, you are the leaders of today, all of you. And you're doing great work, and you have great support and leadership, and it's a wonderful thing to see. And it gives me a lot of hope for the future, and I think that's something that we need a lot of these days. So great work, Graham and Shannon. So you guys are doing really good stuff, so thank you for that. And it really makes our community and our world a better place. So I'm looking for a motion.
Just setting a public hearing?
Oh, we're setting a public hearing. That's what we looked at the ordinance. You want to set a public hearing for us, Sean?
I can take that direction. It was published in the newspaper last Saturday, so fingers crossed that you would.
You got a crystal ball or something? Okay, so then that will set, if you'll set a public hearing, then we'll be complete, and you'll be back for that.
Thanks, you guys.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you, everybody. Thank you all.
Good job.
Really good job. All right. Let's see, here we go. Yeah, consideration of approval of the amended and restated franchise agreement between the City of Nevada City and USA Waste of California, Inc., DBA Waste Management of Nevada City, for collection of garbage, recyclables, green waste, and organics. If there's going to be any further conversation, we ask that you take it out in the lobby so we can keep this show rolling. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Our current solid waste and recycling contract with Waste Management, or WM, is set to expire next month. It was a 15-year contract, and many things have changed in the landscape, including several unfunded mandates through CalRecycle. A lot of people watching probably have seen that Grass Valley and the county just updated their service delivery plans. They were mid-contract, so they amended their contracts. Our contract is ending. It's a little bit different situation, but we have coordinated that our new contract will be shorter, will only be 7 years, so it'll end at the same time as Grass Valley's and the counties. So we'll all be negotiating at the same time on that. Here with us this evening to present is Kate, our solid waste contract guru from R3, and representatives from Waste Management or WM are here as well, and we'll have them come up after Kate's presentation if you would like to direct any questions their way. And that's the introduction. Kate is the subject matter expert, been very helpful in helping the city navigate through not only the process to negotiate this contract, but also working behind the scenes to update our practices and policies with regards to our compliance with those various laws, and glad she is here with us on the team.
Thank you. Good evening, Council. I'm happy to be here back before you. So Sean stole some of my thunder about the background of how we got here, but I'll do a little bit more detail. And I know. But then we'll talk more about the specific terms that we included in the agreement. So skipping right ahead, so as we noted, WM's been the provider actually since 1995. It's the current term that started in July of 11 and is up next month. And WM's the hauler for the county, for the city. They operate the transfer station, so very strong presence here in the region. The other background outside of WM is just the waste situation that is active in California, just a lot more regulations than there used to be, which has kind of changed the game since when this agreement was put in place in 2011. Some notable ones that impact what we're doing today are AB 1826. So this is requiring organics diversion from the landfill. This is kind of considered more of a good faith effort. It had a little bit less teeth than what we're doing now with 1383. The city's role is more making sure that there is a pathway available for diverting organics from landfill. What happened with this one, though, is it was kind of like this graduated, the more you started out, if you had produced a lot of solid waste and you needed to divert organics from the landfill, and that threshold kept dropping lower and lower. For the most part, for most jurisdictions, this has kind of been replaced by 1383. 1383, much stronger. Everyone needs to divert organics from the landfill. So by and large, most jurisdictions are not needing to deal with 1826 anymore. And as we noted with the updated collection agreements with Grass Valley and the county, and with the transfer station updated, the whole region's kind of reacting and responding to these updated regulations. So why 1826 is still relevant here is because the city has a low population waiver, which means the city doesn't need to comply with a lot of the collection components of the regulations. There's a lot of other elements you still need to do relative to edible food and things like that, but you don't need to do the same collection requirements. So that was kind of key to this whole conversation about how we wanted to navigate getting the 1826 compliance, but maybe not doing the same cookie cutter approach to collection that the neighbor agencies are doing. So now I'll just get into the terms of the agreement, first just kind of overarching terms and then more specific about the collections. 7-year term to line up with the neighboring jurisdictions, and then same as the county and the city, this opportunity to do 1 5-year extension if that feels appropriate at the time. And again, the goal just to align with their timing. Another update with this agreement is adjusting the annual rate adjustments. So currently, there are two different components of the rate adjustment. There's a disposal adjustment, specifically related to the disposal cost, and then there is an 8% max kind of CPI increase. In this agreement, we're adjusting to just do the one CPI increase, kind of just to simplify and go with industry standards here. And then also have a minimum and a maximum of 1% and 5%. That kind of makes the rate increase a little bit more predictable from year to year is the thought. The difference would be able to be carried over to the subsequent year. Like if there was a 6% one year, next year it was 4%, that extra 1% could be carried over to the next year. We also added in this agreement performance standards and associated administrative charges. Again, this is more and more standard in hauler agreements, and it's just to kind of set some really clear expectations relative to service quality, customer service, public education, reporting, and have charges associated with that if those standards are not met. So now more into the specific services. For residential service, this agreement includes 35, 64, or 96 gallon volumes available for garbage service, recyclables every other week in a 64 gallon cart, and then green waste optional in a 96 gallon cart. This is different than the neighbor agencies and many jurisdictions throughout California that bundle all three services in one rate. Since you don't have to do that food waste organics recycling, you can kind of separate that. So we're keeping the green waste as a separate rate from the garbage and recycling. So changes from the customer experience, there's a removal of the 20 gallon cart volume in this agreement. By and large, those smaller volumes are challenging for haulers. For the most part, haulers do it by putting an insert inside of your 35 gallon cart, and those inserts tend to fall out when they get serviced. So for the most part, it's actually just a 35 gallon cart, and people are being charged the 20 gallon rate. The other change in this that the customer won't really see but operationally will occur is that the green waste material will be kept separate and clean and green. Since Grass Valley and Nevada County rolled out the organics programs in January, any route that collects from one of those jurisdictions and Nevada City, it's all been going into one mixed organics cart, going to the transfer as mixed, and then needing to be processed as mixed. So a lot of our discussion in this negotiation process was figuring out what's the best approach for that material. What does the city want to see out of that material? And both, because economically it saves some money to not have that processed as mixed organics, and because the end product of a clean green material is a higher value product, we wanted to try to keep that material separate. Now for commercial services. So we've got weekly garbage service, every other week recycling service, every other week green waste service. Newly added to this is the availability of a weekly organic service. That is to provide the compliance pathway for 1826. For those commercial customers that need to meet that requirement, WM will have an option available for that. So that's a new service. Another change from current is having recyclables be at a charge. This is if you have more than 2 96-gallon recycling carts. This, again, is kind of industry standard. It also helps prevent contamination of recycling. Also helps prevent just having a bunch of recycling carts on the curb that are not really necessary. Another component of the service is service to city facilities and just kind of community-provided services. So largely continuation of services for city facilities, supporting illegal dumping, cleanup, community cleanup. We are strengthening the public education component within this agreement, adding a little bit more deliverables around that. And then we're adding this localized food waste program. So again, we're allowed to do things differently here because of the low population waiver. So just because we don't have to put food waste in the green cart doesn't mean we don't want to try to divert that from the landfill. So what we landed on was adding this kind of flexible pilot program opportunity so that we could kind of play with what we want to do locally with food waste, and WM will be contributing financially to that. Also being a member of the table, how do we communicate this to the community? How do we measure it? Does WM have tools available to help measure the success of this? And then it is intended to serve as a pilot to inform future programming for the city. So, concepts would be the having backyard chickens eat food and measure that, maybe a kitchen unit dehydrator unit, lots of opportunities, and we'll get to kind of play with that and see what works the best. Another addition to the agreement is the ability to kind of correct contamination and overage issues. So this is a challenge both operationally, it's a problem for cleanliness, it hurts diversion if materials are contaminated. So WM has their smart truck technology, which is more advanced than many haulers, and they're able to monitor what's happening at the curb. So we have a pretty detailed plan as how to roll this out with the goal of, collaborating with the customers first and making sure they know what's happening, but at the end of the day, correcting issues if they are out there in the field. So it would be education, 2 warnings, then this little warning charge, and then a discussion for does the volume need to be, increased? If you've got a 64 and there's an extra bag every week, then there's a solution for that. But we will be very collaborative to make sure this rolls out well and that customers aren't surprised that this is coming. Okay. So along with the new agreement is an impact to the rates. The proposed agreement includes a 20.8% overall increase in rate revenues. And I'll go into this a little bit more later. This isn't necessarily the impact that each individual ratepayer will see. Their impact varies based on what service levels they have. This is some detail of what some of those drivers of the rate increase are. So there would have been some amount of an increase anyway for your annual increases. There's an increased cost of just green waste processing, and I'll explain that a little bit more on the next slide. New enhancements of programs, so that's public education and the pilot, and then the separate routing of the clean green waste vehicle. So the green waste thing's a little complicated, so I'll explain that. And then the WM profitability.
57%.
So on the green waste processing side, this shows how kind of the compensation for processing the green waste has increased by about 55% based on annual increases within the contract, and the true cost of that increasing by about 90% in that time. And then the next part tries to explain a little bit how this green waste processing comes into play. So it's valuable and a savings compared to neighbors to do that clean green waste processing because it's such a lower processing rate. But it is important to know there is a somewhat uptick in the cost for collecting that because it can no longer be co-collected with the county. So if they were doing that before, they need to go back to the transfer, drop it, and then go back out onto their route. But overall, the most economical choice was to keep that separate and clean and green. So as I noted, individual ratepayers will see their bills impacted to varying extents based on what services they have. We do these pay-as-you-throw rate structures. Historically, they've been pretty steep, and the goal is, you pay less the less you throw away. Unfortunately, when these kind of rates were originally rolled out, that was a very, very steep, curve there. So if you were basically the 35-gallon volume customers weren't really paying their fair share because it was just trying to motivate people to downsize. So we still see some level of a pay-as-you-throw rate structure broadly, but it's not as steep as it used to be because as people downsize, that's not sustainable. So we're definitely experiencing that here, and that's part of what's being seen in the rate structure. And what that means is that the lowest volume customers are going to be impacted the most as we make that rate structure a little bit more sustainable. An awareness that that's going to be a challenge for many ratepayers, we've also added this low income and senior discounts into the rate structure. This is only available for those 35-gallon customers, so those are the customers that will be impacted the most, but they will have this ability to apply for this discount. This is a look at the rates when compared to rates in the region, and specifically called out Grass Valley and Nevada County rates to see kind of how things line up. And I have both Nevada City without the green cart listed, since that is ultimately, you know, the lowest cost someone could do by not adding on that add-on service. And then the second line is the full suite. It is always challenging to compare with neighbors because the kind of, it's never quite apples to apples because, you know, how many blue carts do you get with it? How many green is HHW covered, is whatever else. So it's not going to be apples to apples. But it at least shows that where we fit in with the mix there. And I will flag that these numbers are updated since I was here a few weeks ago for the committee. This has a number of, in terms of the neighbors, because I've now incorporated proposed rate increases for July 1, since most people do see their increases. So kind of everyone else has lifted up a little bit more around us. And then the same view for the commercial rate comparison, again, largely in line with Grass Valley and Nevada County. And then we've got the broader comparison for the region. Clearly, the rate impact is kind of the most significant thing and that the customers are going to experience. So, you know, that's just a challenge in of itself, and we know very key will be kind of communicating in general what's happening, but also, you know, making sure those who are eligible for the low-income discount or senior discount are aware that that is available. So, since the last committee meeting, I've been working with WM to start trying to think about what that might look like, and this is what we've got so far. That there is a mailing that will generally introduce, you know, any new programs or updated services, but make sure, you know, the discount is described and how you can sign up for that. Also to be covered in media, social media, website, and then they're also planning a number of in-person opportunities to speak with folks. So we've got calling them coffee chats every Thursdays in June, rotating locations between City Hall and the Chamber of Commerce to be able to talk to people in person, walk them through the applications, and make as many resources as available as possible. Some details still being worked out. Another event at a local restaurant in July. So, conclusion, you know, the agreement is up in a month, so that's where we are in terms of, you know, options. WM has been responsive to service requests relative to clean green waste and local food waste alternatives. Those were challenging things to kind of figure out and craft and a bit unique in the state, and they were very responsive to crafting those programs. WM is requiring reasonable profitability per company standards, and the rate increase is the result of expenses outpacing revenue, and to some extent, the rates do need to be updated to provide a service sustainable rate model. I'll take questions.
All right, thank you, Kate. Let's see. I'd like to.
You to go first.
Well, I was going to offer Waste Management the opportunity to justify a 20% increase first. Would you like that?
We'll answer any question.
I mean, there were some bullet points.
Well, Doug and I were on the committee, and it's the way we work is to allow the committee to speak first. Or would you like to go, or you want me to just have
Why
at
don't you,
it?
I mean, so I'll counterbalance yours.
Okay, yeah, okay, because I might need it. Well, first of all, we don't have any choice. There are no options for us.
Make sure folks can hear you, though.
There are no options for us. We are stuck. We're so small. The county negotiates the agreement. We have really no choice in Grass Valley. They outpace us. So nothing I can say is going to matter here because we truly have no leverage. First, I want to thank you, Kate, for a wonderful presentation. So second of all, I noticed the slide got changed because before the slide said that we had to raise rates because Waste Management was losing money in Nevada City. And with a CEO salary of $14.6 million and a corporation profitability of $506 million annually, I'm not losing sleep over you losing money in Nevada City
That
at
sounds
all.
like big tobacco, I mean.
Well, I wasn't going to say,
Kind of
now
capitalism.
come on, Daniel, I wasn't going to accuse him as being as bad as Big Tobacco, but I was going to compare him to PG&E. So we have no choice in this. Clearly, anybody that's listened to me understands that I have a problem with corporate management of essential services like water and waste and electricity, because we suffer for it every time as it becomes monetized and profitized. So there's not a lot we can do about it. I do like that we aligned the agreement with the county, so next time maybe we can all get our heads together, although there's not any other game in town, so we're stuck. I probably should be grateful that it's only 20%. And I understand that it's spread out. The people who are really going to pay for this are the commercial folks because of mass and volume and everything else, and we have struggling businesses. The reduction to the seniors is really funny. My wife commented today, well, if they're going to give me a reduction to seniors, they're probably going to lose money again because there's so many of us in this town. So that's where we are. There's nothing really we can do about it. I think a 20% increase is egregious, and I think it's more corporate greed, and I get really tired of that. But I also recognize there's nothing I can do about it. You provide a decent service. You worked it out when we had problems. Whoopee, you give us a couple of green waste days a year. Thank you for that. There's probably more you could do in that regard. So that's what I got to say.
Yeah, and, and that's all true. 20% is a really hard number to take, but and I think you've spoken effectively about that, but I do have to say that the service that I've seen and the people that talk to me about it, which are many, that seems to be a very important things for people, there was a period where things were terrible. I mean, they were really bad. We had new drivers, we had leaky, trucks, we had missed, deliveries. All that stuff has gone away. I mean, for the most part, I think it's a completely different WM at this point as far as, and we talked a little bit about that, where there's a lot of local folks, they're doing the routes. You've had all kinds of hiring bonuses to get fully staffed, and you're fully staffed, right, for Grass Valley and Nevada City. And that wasn't the case before. One of the things I would like to just note, and when you're talking about your social media sort of efforts. I did talk to Shivati when she was in this business about the Nextdoor, but I went on to Nextdoor the day after we met, and there's just a lot of confusion. That you guys should be on that, should just, you're coming from the horse's mouth, but it was a lot of confusion about the senior discount, about the 20-gallon, tub being taken away, and it was mostly just wrong. A lot of them were confused about twice a month and no a month. So while it's really hard to swallow a 20% increase, I do think that, the product and the services have gotten better over the last few years, and so, I think that's a positive. Like the mayor said, we don't have a choice. This is the game in town, and, this is what we're going to have to do. So working with Waste Management moving forward, I think makes the most sense. And,
The only sense.
Well, again, not a big choice, but, yeah, I think that's what I got to say.
Thank you.
Yeah, and if I may, speaking to what Doug brought up about next door, I mean, particularly because one of your bullet points is part of the increase rate is increased education, so that would certainly be helpful. It's an even bigger pill to swallow when 57% of the increase is going towards profitability. I mean, we are seeing the worst of capitalism tonight in this meeting, and I fear that that's not going to change anytime soon in our town or in this country, and that's unfortunate. That's all I gotta say.
Well, I'll be up front, I can't vote for this. And there's a couple of reasons. One is I have three 35-gallon cans. They fit exactly where they need to fit in my garage. I don't have any spare room there. If I go with the same services I have now, I'll have a 35-gallon garbage can, a 64-gallon recycling can, and a 96-gallon green waste can. Have I got that right?
I want to double check with, I think that those are the default sizes. I think you have smaller volumes available. You'll have smaller, yeah. So there's a default
We
size.
have an
You can-
option.
All three?
All three.
Cool.
Unless the truck accidentally throws it away, and then you don't get one for 3 months, which happened to me this year.
I do believe that when it comes to community service, you guys have been doing a good job. But the principal reason I can't vote for this is optional green waste disposal. That runs directly counter to everything we've been trying to teach our residents about disposing of their green waste. It opposes the Fire Safety Advisory Committee's recommendation. So I can't go for that being optional. That has to be there. We have to have our green waste picked up every other week, period.
So I'm confused, but go ahead.
But that's not a law.
Okay. Vice Mayor.
Yeah, can I get an answer on, was it 2/3 of our constituents would be eligible for the senior discount or the low-income discount? Is that about right?
Of the residential accounts, so it wouldn't be the commercial accounts, and then, yeah, looking at the age,
Only if you have a 35-gallon.
so low income and senior.
Combined, if they have a 35-gallon bin.
You'd have to have the smaller.
And how big is that discount?
15%,
How much?
15.
15% from the new rate, which is 20% higher than it
I will
was.
pay less now than, I will pay less under this new contract that I pay now as a senior.
So would I.
But somebody else will pay for it, and a lot more.
Me and Daniela.
Yeah.
The younger folks.
Yeah, I echo what everyone said. When Lou and I first were elected, it almost seems like most of the issues we heard about were people upset with waste management, and there has been a big turnaround. And I compliment you guys on that, but there's been so much turnover at Waste Management. I don't know how many you guys were involved in that, in the turnaround. But that was good that the quality of service improved. But this is going to be hard for a lot of folks to swallow, and I hope you know that going into the education component. And it's just really important to me that everyone who's eligible for the discount knows about the discount. Like, that's just wildly important to me, so people don't feel as blindsided by the uptick. That's what I've got.
Public comment.
Could I make a comment about
Sure.
the senior? So 2/3 of the customers.
Do you want to do it on the mic?
Yeah, that way people can hear it at home.
So currently, 2/3 of the Nevada City customers are already in a 35-gallon size. So our plan for education is, as Kate said, to once a week in June to be locally here. We have set up either at the City Hall here or at the Chamber of Commerce. We're going to do that once a week. so that customers will know, and we'll have the discount forms there and work with them and filling those out and then answering any questions they might have. We're also going to be doing other events through July and really try and reach out to all of those customers who could qualify for that, either senior or low income.
What qualifies as low income?
Low income is they need to be on the PG&E Care program, and then for seniors, it's 62 or older.
Got to find a roommate. Pay for all my bills.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other public comments? Okay, I'm going to bring it back to the council, looking for a motion. Let me just say this. I don't like this at all. I would prefer to stand where Lou stands and vote no. But somebody's got to pick up our trash July 1st, and if we don't vote for it, I don't know what our options are. Can we start our own trash service? Can we?
I mean,
We can.
The Foundry.
Oh, they'd get us at the transfer station, wouldn't they? Yeah, okay.
The tipping fees that
The transfer.
WM pays would apply to us as well.
Yep. So, like I said, I don't like it, but I am looking for a motion. It's a matter of necessity, whether we like it or not.
As it's a matter of necessity, whether we like it or not, I move we approve the agreement.
I'll second that.
All right, moved by Vice Mayor Klein, seconded by Councilmember Fernandez. Roll call
No,
vote.
it was not
Excuse me, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I didn't want to tag
know
you
you
into
get-
that.
we
It was
get
a total
mistaken.
accident, I'm sorry. I retract that.
thank you.
Councilmember Fleming. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Cece,
For the reasons I explained, no.
Councilmember Fleming,
Yep.
Councilmember Fernandez,
For capitalism, no.
Vice Mayor Klein,
Yes.
Mayor Peterson.
I don't like it at all, but yes.
Motion carries 3-2.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kate. It was a wonderful job. It's a joy to work with you in R3. It really is.
It's not personal.
No, we like Kate a lot.
Well,
I'd stay away from those coffee chats if I were you.
thanks, Eric. Thanks, Rachel.
Thanks,
Nice
guys.
to meet you.
Nice
to meet you, too.
Welcome to Nevada City.
Usually we're nicer than this, you know?
See you guys.
Do we need a break or?
Yes,
Yeah,
just
okay.
a couple minutes.
We're going to take a short bio break here. You want to chase them down and run them out? Or? Of an update on the parking improvement pilot projects and next step for the citywide parking improvement program approvals. You're on, Brian.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, so we're here to talk about parking improvements, and there's phased improvements that began in 2023 as part of the, when we finished the parking demand study. And so this is an update of everything that's happening, and we're focusing on what's taking place this summer. So the parking meter kiosk was installed, and it was installed in commercial street lot to replace 76 meters in the commercial street lot. And so it provides options to pay by coin, credit card, contactless card like by phone app. And then what we didn't realize until we really got into the actual installation and agreement is the mobile payment option isn't part of the kiosk. It's not part of McKay, the meter manufacturer's ability to provide. So you use another company for the mobile pay app, and it just seems to be the modern way people like to pay these days. It would be much more convenient to users to have that mobile pay option. So that's why we didn't make the kiosk live. We just started negotiating with a vendor for the mobile pay app. And so Bethany will talk some more about the mobile pay app and the associated signage. But another thing that we did a pilot project on is the smart meters on the. We put 5 smart meters on the streets that take credit cards as well as coins, and we're still monitoring that. And we'll come back after the pilot project with more information. But they don't stay charged if they're under an awning. They're solar charged, and before we just purchase lots of them to replace all the meters, there's just consideration of some of the things that are some of the complaints we've heard, like the backlit screen is hard to read, the directions. So a potential option would be to use kiosks at more locations. And so after the pilot project, we'll report on the kiosk, the success of the mobile pay app, as well as these smart meters, and then so you can make informed decisions going forward. I'll let Bethany talk about the Park mobile app and signage.
Hello, Council. Yeah, happy to help Brian out with this parking update. So one quick thing that I want to touch on is that we've updated our website with more information and also talked with the Chamber of Commerce, and they've updated their website with the correct time limits for the different parking lots and information about that. So actually, we can go to the slides now. Yeah.
Oh, somebody brought graphics.
We got some slides. So yeah, the company that we're working with is called Park Mobile, and they were recommended to us by McKay Meters. And there's a few different ways that they could pay, a customer can pay with Park Mobile. You can do it on their app, you can do it on the website, you can even pay by text if you don't want to download the app, and other mobile wallet options like Google Pay, Apple Pay, PayPal. So that just kind of broadens the options for people if they want to park in town. And some other features with Park Mobile, you can do discounts or special rates in certain zones. So, for example, for employees or locals, we can reduce the rate that way. You can also do validation. You can do dynamic pricing. People can reserve ahead of time on the app, and you can also add more time to the meter remotely. And then on the right, you can see the fee structure. We went with the bundled fee model instead of a convenience fee because this way Park Mobile eats the credit card fee rather than the city, which would mean that we would subsidize a customer that way. So the bundled fee model is 15% of the total transaction with a 75-cent minimum. So you can see one example with $5. The bundled rate would be, the fee would be 75 cents, and the net revenue to Nevada City would be the full $5. And then in example 2, you can see a $10 example, and that uses the 15% minimum, or 15% rate. And then I wanted to touch on signage as well. We have a really rich history of awesome fonts and design in our city. And so I wanted to kind of take inspiration from that, and I've just shown some examples. And there's a lot of different ways we could design a signage, and I want to make it right because we're going to be looking at it for years. And so, yeah, open to input. If you guys have any suggestions, we could go with a serif or sans serif font, different colorways. But here are some examples. And here you can see our lovely Taylor holding up a 24 by 36 inch sign. And that's kind of the idea of what it would look like in front of the commercial street lot. This was one of the initiatives or recommendations from our parking study, was to put better wayfinding signage around town.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can see that it says paid parking. It's enforced from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., 4-hour limit, except Sundays and holidays. And it has the name right up front. And so we would do that, start with the commercial street lot, and then we would eventually move to the Spring Street lot and Nevada Street lot as well, and have the same kind of branding design. We also have to have instructional signage because people aren't going to have like a meter to just look at, the little sticker. So for instructions on either they can go to the pay station and pay with cash or credit card, debit card, or they can skip the kiosk and pay by mobile app. And then below, you can see kind of, that doesn't work on the screen, you can see the Park Mobile instructions underneath. And then we'd do a sign for every 10 to 15 spaces is best practice. So we'd have 5 to 8 signs in the lot. So we can put instructions right on the kiosk or on a sign next to it. Still working out the details, but we're going to order them next week. Okay, and then, is that all I have on Park Mobile?
Just to finish off on Park Mobile, so the user pays a convenience fee. It does cost more than just putting in coins or credit card, but Park Mobile's told us that in other areas it gets to be where it's about 50% of the users choose Park Mobile just because of the convenience, or choose a mobile pay option for the convenience. You don't have to wait in line at the meter, anything like that. And once you have the app on your phone, I think it'll be, and you get used to it, I think it'll be pretty popular. So I just wanted to make sure we point out that it does cost more. Users are paying for the convenience.
And it might be good to put that on the sign. It's not in my mock-ups right now, but
Yes.
just to let people know. Yeah.
And for the pilot, there's no rate changes, so this is, at our current use level and our current rates, which everything up there, you shouldn't pay $5 in any given day because the meters are only on from 9 in the morning till 6 at night, and we only charge 50 cents an hour, so by my calculation, you can only pay $4.50 to park for the whole day, which is not legal in the lots, by the way. It's 4-hour maximum. But all the things that Bethany highlighted are the things about modern parking that make it more adaptable and both user-friendly, and the fee structure can be adjusted to meet all of those needs. And so we'll definitely bring that back when we do the proposal for the system-wide influence. But on the commercial street lot, it'll stay at that 50 cent, per hour, so.
And one thing they recommend not to include on the signage is the price, because we want to be able to change it. And then we also included a 60-day cancellation if it doesn't work out. So that kind of ensures flexibility for the pilot.
So just a few other parking-related things. So July 7th is the proposed date that we would make everything live, both the kiosk, the mobile app, and we could also start on that same date charging for electric vehicle charging. We've been making that available for free just to build usage data and encourage the use of EV vehicles, but we could start charging for that also. And we've taken a look at what neighboring communities charge and kind of landed on a proposed 67 cents per kilowatt, which is slightly above actual cost. So that could happen at the same time. And then other things we've been doing is just the directional signage that you see. We can always do more with signage, like Bethany was pointing out. And signs don't cost very much. We can keep doing that throughout town. And then painting T-stalls, the parking stripes. We've added those on Sacramento Street. We're doing some more of that in the next few weeks, actually. So that's just another way to identify those available parking stalls.
For parking inventory?
Yeah, just increases just the availability just by having marked stalls in certain locations.
Would we charge for those on Sacramento?
No, those are free.
Okay.
Yeah, there's,
It just prevents people from spreading out all over the
Oh,
house.
yeah.
It's more efficient.
Parking spaces.
But we are going to be taking out the meters from the commercial street lot and putting them on York Street
yeah, York Street and Spring Street.
and Spring Street.
Wait a minute. Oh, York's on the other side of commercial.
Next to Sopatai.
Yeah. And then on Spring, just to complete the meters on there, there's some on Spring, right? And
We're going to take up questions at the end.
Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll complete the ones in Spring.
Okay, ready for bike parking?
Yeah.
Okay, so then, we also want to expand our multimodal alternatives.
Yeah.
And this is a fun one. So we're considering doing a bike parking corral, like outside of, just outside of City Hall, at the intersection of York and Broad Street. One parking stall, because of the AB, it's the daylighting law. We've red curbed that one stall, and one stall can fit 8 to 12 bicycles. And so we think that's a great location to put bike parking right in the middle of town. And I did a little design, so you can see how it could fit 8 to 10, and with some planters on the side as well. And we're thinking of doing it on like a boardwalk type structure, so it's less expensive, and we can take it out if we need to. And yeah, it fits quite nicely there in between the parking space, and also leaving enough room for people to turn right, because they do cut that corner. Just experienced that today, actually. But yeah, open to feedback on this as well.
And then, as the team works through this, Lisa is hoping to bring this in front of the Planning Commission, not for not approval, but for their input on, its overall aesthetic and its compatibility with the architecture that it sits in front of. So that will be, something coming. It's not a parklet. It's not something that has to go to them, but that way Brian's not designing something and gets yelled at later because nobody told him it wasn't any good. So again, it's something that, we partner with the Planning Commission to get their input, but it'll be your final say, obviously, to choose what we do on the go forward.
You might still get yelled at, Brian.
But not as bad as Waste Management. So does that complete your
I
presentation?
think that's it. Yeah, thank you very
Okay,
much.
so,
Open to your input, feedback.
Let's see. Got any public comment on this? Anybody care about parking? Okay. So, Doug, you got apparently thoughts, so.
Oh, no, I just was going to ask about dynamic pricing. Is that something we're going to do like during the,
Jack it up during festivals.
Yeah, so,
It's definitely a possibility. Not up to me.
yeah, no, I wouldn't make
Good-
that decision.
good
either.
I think it makes sense, but
Parking fees are not something you want to touch.
So when we bring you back the comprehensive proposal, it'll include how do you pay for it. And so if you wanted to do all of it at once, you would need to raise rates commensurate to, the general fund would pay for it at a loss at the beginning, and then you pay it back with rates increasing over time. One of the ways you can blunt that impact, though, is the myriad of things that Bethany spoke about. Is you can have local pricing. You could have a price code for people could come in and show their ID. They live in Nevada County, and they can, have a code that they can enter. They get a different price than someone that's coming from out of town that doesn't live here. You could have employee parking. You could have zoned parking where the back parking spots up against the Vets Hall cost less than the ones that are closest to the street. So all the things that she illustrated and more are potentially available, and we'd bring you that in a comprehensive pricing structure, and you could kind of select from the menu. Obviously, we'd have some recommendations, but we'd want to get your fingerprints on the knives. I mean, we'd want to get your
On the knife, did you
direction
say?
on what that was.
On the knife.
Wow.
I'll just give you my knife.
So you're good.
Yeah.
You had mentioned collecting data on the few meters that were installed on Broad Street. Do we have any data from that yet, did you say?
Well, we just have had some things that haven't worked well, like they're not charging well when they're under shade, and you have to replace the batteries. And we've had some complaints about, not being backlit. You have to start typing before it gets backlit, and that, it just takes people a little bit to get used to them. And
Yeah, it's different than coins.
and they look different. They're bigger and.
Yeah.
And for the
We've
dual
heard-
head, you have to select. Instead of right now, you have dual heads, you just put the money in the 1 meter. This one, if you just put money in there, it doesn't know which one you're putting it in there for. So you have to push the arrow button to which one it is, which has been
A thing?
yes. So if we ended up with those or kiosks, we would have an educational campaign around the common errors that occurred. That's the reason
Similar
for
to
the
the
pilot.
signs telling you how to use the existing.
Exactly.
Got it. All right, so we're just learning about them.
Yeah.
Cool, thank you.
Mayor, can I ask one follow-up question? I did
One
get.
time.
One time. So I got a public comment a while ago, and I just dug it up, and they said that they have trouble reading the meter. Is it the older ones that they're having trouble? They said that it's cloudy, or I couldn't tell if it was the new ones or the old ones.
Yeah, it's probably the
Or cataract.
cloudy glass on the
Cloudy
old ones.
glass, okay,
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
anyway, it's cataract.
Thank you.
It's cataract.
Yeah.
We're going to get rid of all those meters eventually, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's the plan.
Lou, go ahead.
Just anecdotally, at this morning's chamber meeting, there were a couple of merchants who did not like the pilot meters. They weren't specific about what they meant. And I assisted someone using it because the print that says if you have a card that you can tap here was too small for him to read. So
It's tiny.
there's that. When we put meters on Spring Street, will the people who live on Spring Street still have unmetered spaces to park?
Well, we're not putting the meters in the parking lot at this time. It would only be on Spring Street.
I mean, up there.
Oh,
Yes,
oh, no.
past KVMR.
No, we're not, we're only talking about meters on Spring Street behind the National.
Okay,
So not in the neighborhood.
good, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, to Lou's point at the chamber meeting, like a year ago, a regular topic of conversation at those meetings was the hassle of always having to have quarters because people rush in and be like, I don't have any change to put in this meter. And we've solved that problem, and now they don't like the solution. So I think probably shouldn't just react immediately to them. Now they don't like them, and give it a chance for people to get used to it, I think is a good idea. And it was very interesting what Sean was saying about the option of locals pay less. I think people would like that. I think no matter what, people are going to be upset and angry, but that's because of Waste Management and not us. So as long as they're, drawing all the ire, we can try to have a good parking solution that we think is okay.
That's right. We can be a modern historic town. Let's move forward.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you good?
That's a good phrase.
So,
Write that down.
Number of things.
It's in there.
I'm assuming that the bicycle parking in that slot isn't in violation of elimination of
It's
parking.
specifically called out in the law that you can use it for bicycle
Okay.
parking.
Okay, check in on that one. Number of complaints about the aesthetics of the meters on the street. And I have to say, some of them are rather large and robotic. Some of those heads I could use on a robot or something. I think, and it just, I think that really what I'm preferring is kiosks on the street, where you, like at a corner, you have a kiosk and then you number the parking spaces down the street as a means to eliminate, and it opens up the street and gets rid of a lot of parking meters that way. And it's, so in Capitola, they do it in the city all the time. So it's another way to approach it and look at it. That I think is valuable, because I did hear, and I understood, I went and checked out the meters when I heard from a couple of our locals, they're ugly, and they are. And if we were going to keep the regular heads, there's plenty of devices that fit the regular head. The same size, card slips in, all over Monterey, City of Monterey, $7.5 million annually in parking revenues. Just got to have an aquarium. So I would advocate.
More than 50 cents an hour.
And an ocean.
And an ocean, and more than 50 cents an hour. I think it's going to be a necessity, and I think we're way overdue for visiting the cost of parking fees. And I know how unpopular that can be, but we're about, we're so far below market, it's not even funny. So also, I would just want to say, given what I heard at the meeting, the budget priority meeting with the community, where Vice Mayor Klein joined me, that any expediting of the Clark Street efforts to add parking and sooner rather than later is, I think, of value. And it's particularly as we move forward with raising parking fees, that we're offering something in return for that, rather than just kiosks. So I think there's a balance there. So that's my comments. But I can't wait to see the whole program. Good work on the signage. I've seen some of the new signage going up. I love your signs. Signs, take them to the planning commission and let them fight about it. But I like your signs. So that's kind of what I got.
And there's several other things. Oh, sorry, Ryan.
No, thank you for the comments.
There's several other items that we'll be working on and rolling out if available or bringing back to you. Those include updating the employee parking permitting structure, the use of non-city asset parking like church parking or the county parking lots, things like that. A lot of that ties to the potential to pave the Clark Street lot and use it in varying capacities. And then, as you know, you awarded a design contract for the pedestrian crossing of Deer Creek there that would connect the backside of the flume there on that parking lot to the lower level of the Spring Street lot over here. So other pieces and parts that are in the parking study will continue to work on. We're not abandoning those. This is the pilot.
Because I think increasing volume any way we can as creatively as possible. And again, it was just such a loud voice in that room about more parking. It's never about, yes, it is sometimes, but about the number of parking spaces, how we manage what we have. And that's why, you want to avoid building a parking structure at any cost, because the cost is so high. but whatever we can do to creatively expand our parking footprint. And it's also under the mayor's category of what have we done for you lately? We're improving parking, so.
And one thing, Gary, on your comment about having more kiosks dispersed throughout town, is that McKay does offer it's a kiosk, but it's skinnier.
Yeah.
So it's like the size of a meter, but it's.
I've seen them, and they've got them all over, and well, certainly along the Embarcadero in San Francisco, where they'll have 150 spaces spread out with one kiosk in the middle, and you walk down to it and do it. There's a lot of, well, okay, shorter, okay,
Yeah.
block, just a block, okay? But anyway, they have best practices, I know, you referenced that, so. But that's something to look at, I think, that's, because if we could get rid of all the parking meters and then sell them on eBay to pay for parking. Okay, is that adequate direction? Are we good?
Yep.
Good, all right.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, we are, okay. I'm guessing somebody's here for, I saw a skateboard, so this must be the next item. So, consideration of an update, no, wait, consideration of the release of a request for proposal for design build of the Nevada City Skate Park project. Lon, you're on, and you made it up from the back of the room in record time.
You want it up?
Yeah, that'd be great, thanks. Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, City Council. Lon Peterson, Assistant City Manager. For your consideration this evening is the release of an RFQ design build for the Nevada City Skate Park project located at Bodie Hive. And just before I begin, I did want to give a shout out to Chris Anderson, owner of Bodie Hive, who actually was very graciously or generously donated the land of which the skate park will be built on. So that being said, let's talk about the project. Overall funding for this project is right around $1 million. The cost for this particular 3/4 of it comes from Prop 64 funding, $750,000 for the contractor, roughly $250,000 for city provided site work. Project scope is to complete a skate park, including the land acquisition, ADA compliance design, the actual skate park features, bathrooms, and the utilities that will be brought onto site from the city. Timeline for the release of the RFP is going to be June 2nd. Hopefully contract awarded by July 23rd. Construction and a whole bunch of other stuff, which I'll get into, is going to be determined once we get a vendor on site and walk through what we're doing. But I did want to talk very specifically about our community engagement efforts. It will be very comprehensive. I've seen and been talking with Councilmember Fleming about what's been happening in Grass Valley.
Other locations.
What's that?
In other locations.
Other locations. Yeah, and also talked to Zach, who's managing that project over there. Had a lot of great conversations around some of the things that they're dealing with. We wanted to ensure those things do not happen in Nevada City. We're also fortunate that we don't have a skate park that we're removing, but we are putting one in. We have a lot of opportunity to do something incredible. The location over there is also, I think, quite amazing. As part of this proposal, I developed an outreach plan that is critical to this particular piece. It is a collaboration between the city. We'll be using the city's channels to communicate to our residents. Already put up a website. You can go to it, Nevada City Skate, our website /skate park. Of which is currently set up to where you can go and sign up to receive notifications for the skate park project. So when we kick the project off, anybody that's signed up will get notifications. We'll also do very specific outreach to the skate community as well as neighbors on Reward Drive in that particular area, among other things. And what else? This aligns with Goal 11 to develop a skate park. Partnerships, because it's on the property of Bodie Hive, we plan to partner with them on the grand opening of this event and make it something spectacular. That's yet to be decided, but I will be coordinating with that team and the city on that, and you'll hear more about that in the future. This also went to Community Services Committee, and they recommended moving this project forward on May 6th. And with that, I'll take questions, but I am looking for a motion to move this project forward.
Doug, let's get public comment first.
Sure,
Yeah,
sure.
public comment first. It's now open for public comment on the skate park. Yes, hello.
Hello.
Do I have to hold it?
No,
No, you don't have to hold it,
Orange lights on.
but we'd like to know who you are.
Hi. I'm Orion Perez. I'm not a resident of Nevada City. I'm a resident of Grass Valley, but very much a skateboarder and skateboard every day. And so I'm just here to say that I hope that the community outreach will be huge on this one. Put it in the union, multiple surveys, come to the skate park, the makeshift skate park that we have right now. Yeah, come introduce yourself, get input there, and yeah, I'm excited to see what comes to Nevada City and to see more skate spaces in Nevada County. And also on the, because I know you're going to be looking for bids soon, I would even say get some community engagement when you get some bids. Maybe put out there, hey, we've heard from these contractors or these companies. Have you heard of them? What do you think about them? Because I think the skate community could give you a lot of input on that. I think we should have a different company than the one that's doing one in another part of the county right now. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Yep. Putting up with the rest of our meeting, you got to take your 3 minutes.
Got to hold the button down, all right?
You don't have to hold the button down
As long as it's lit up.
Lucky me. Okay. Good evening, guys. Thanks for your time. I'm on the board of the Skate Coalition nonprofit organization that's in Grass Valley. We've been trying to defend Condon Park. I'd like to offer any assistance possible moving forward. I was hoping to see more people here tonight, but I'm not surprised given the amount of the broken spirit in the skate community right now with the removal and demolition of Condon Park against the community will. My personal opinion now, Nevada City has needed a skate park for the last quarter century, and the community has wanted one for much longer. Not only is skateboarding an Olympic sport and has gained worldwide recognition that makes billions of dollars of revenue per year, there's an entire skate tourism industry that is being overlooked. I encourage the committee to learn from the ongoing mistakes taking place in Grass Valley, such as putting the skate park on the bottom of the agenda, and instead to build a legacy to be proud of that matches a local identity. I'd encourage you to spend time and money to get multiple different inputs from reputable providers and avoid serving special interests over the voices of your community. Support the youth and provide a safe space for them to be. Thank you very much.
What's your name real quick?
Jordan Larson.
Cool.
Sorry, there's one item after you, so you weren't exactly at the bottom.
I apologize.
Anybody else?
Hi, my name is Graham Hayes. Good to see you guys. I had a couple points of clarity with the RFP, and maybe you guys can address those. Obviously, these aren't comments, but they're more of questions. So I don't know if that's possible tonight, and maybe these answers will be in the RFP, which I'm assuming isn't accessible to us until it's released to the public. But nonetheless, $750,000 is my understanding of what will be to the contractor, which is comparably with what's going on the other side of town, not a large portion of money. So the size of the park, I'm curious about what that looks like and what Nevada City has as a plan going forward. Due to the condition of the Condon Park, for example, maintenance became a large issue, like deferred maintenance over 25 years became, turned into what the city saw as the necessity to tear that park out. So that skate park will be a new amenity to Nevada City. What that will look like for the city in terms of maintenance and putting that into the budget, and that's a consideration I think everyone should take seriously if it's going to be something that you guys are seriously going to build. In terms of Prop 64, there's a limit to what that looks like. That became a point of urgency for the city of Grass Valley, and I hope Nevada City doesn't put themselves in that same position in terms of all the paperwork has to be submitted by the fall of 2028, and so getting that park built on the scope of what you guys have now is by the end of 2026, and so doing that in that time period with the risks of Prop 64's funding and how that's achieved. I hope that City Council does a diligent job of looking into how that funding is actually received and making sure that the contractor and if this is going to be an all-inclusive design process like is being suggested here, I'm curious what that actually looks like in the RFP and if there is actually any stipulations as to if there's a budgetary line item there that says that this is how much a contractor has to spend on community outreach, or if there's a quota stipulated there of how many people have to be communicated to. That would be something I'd be interested in seeing in the RFP, because that lacked in the City of Grass Valley's RFP, and we paid the price for that. So that would be something I'd hope City Council audits in the RFP before it's just released, but that's considered. What is required of a contractor for community involvement. And I think that's a serious consideration there. And I have one more thing. I'm spacing up. I got 34 seconds left. Yeah, what are the requirements to the bidders? Outreach is critical, and the maintenance portion, I think, is something that I hope City Council takes seriously. And I think that's good. Thank you.
Thanks, Graham.
The RFP is online.
Oh, it is. I was looking for it.
It's on the agenda.
Yeah. Okay. That's great.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
And if you go to the Nevada City Skate Park project page on our website, right at the top of it, there's a click that says sign up here. And you can put in your information, get a text or an email anytime we update that page or are going to have more community meetings on the skate park at any, so people can share that.
Okay, thank you for your comments. All right, Doug, go.
What am I going to say? You know, I have a few questions about the RFP that I don't necessarily want to get into too much detail, but just as far as evaluation criteria, things like that, is there any scoring? And I didn't see any scoring for. There is. Oh, there is? Okay. I missed it then. Then, what else did I have then? I think that it's a pretty solid RFP, and it will get us where we need to be. Yeah, I'm going to just wait, and I have a few things that don't really matter here. And so, yeah, that's it for me.
Other comments?
Lon, you had mentioned that watching the meetings and so forth over across town, as we're deciding to call it right now. And how can you be more specific about how you're trying to avoid the problems that they were hit with?
We're going to do specific outreach to the skate community. So I think, you know, one of the things in talking with Zach is they did outreach through the skate store there. But we'll put something out specifically. And I talked to Zach about doing some outreach to them, to the skate community that is currently displaced to the Temp Skate Park. So we'll probably do some signage out there and work with the union and UVNet to put out articles. But we'll definitely be looking to make sure we do not emulate and have that issue. We're just not going to do that.
Holding you to that, man.
Okay.
We're just not going to do that. Doesn't sound like a plan.
It is a plan.
Number one of all.
I don't want to go into the details. The entire outreach or the strategy is actually in the RFP.
It is.
So I took a lot of time
It is,
to
and I
make
read
it.
it.
It's an integrated part of the strategy.
Sure. I think they're just asking for people in the room and people watching at home who haven't read that, if you can highlight a few of those things. And also there are resources in this room of people perhaps to check in with about
Yep.
that
So
as well.
anybody that's here that wants to be a part of that project, please sign up for notifications on the website. I'm happy to take your email, but then I can't sign you up for that on our website. You have to do it manually, so it's a self-subscribe piece. But that'll ensure that anything that we put out for the skate park, you get notified with. So that would be huge. Let me go to it. So. Okay, so, yeah, so Section D, Community Outreach Strategy. So where is it, method. So we're going to host, I think I have it in here, three public meetings with the contractor. So
With the contractor and the community.
and the community and the city. So I think the intent is, when talking with Grass Valley, was that after they got the first proposal for the design, then to go back out to the community a few times, so it wasn't just one proposal as well. So we integrated that into this particular piece. But we plan on doing surveys, focus outreach, website and social media engagement. And then as it gets into the engagement, there's multiple phases. So the first phase is the pre-design, is doing a workshop to gather feedback as to what the community is looking to see that'll meet all skill levels. Phase 2 will then jump in once there's feedback and they actually have something to show. Right now, it's just a proposal that says we will build a skate park. When they put together a plan, then we'll come back and we'll have, it says up to 3 public meetings to refine the design of the skate park. And then again, continued outreach throughout the entire process. And then, so communication throughout the entire thing, even after the design is proposed. We'll do updates when progress is happening and notification for when the park's opening and coordination with Bodie Hive on a grand opening that the community will be very aware of.
If I
Yep,
may.
please.
Something that I found really useful, I'm part of a lot of groups that are always lacking in age diversity and wondering, how do we get the young people to show up? How do we get to the young people to show up? And you could say skate park, and chances are you might get a lot of young people to show up, but I find that it's best if you go to young people. It works better. And we have some high schools in the area. It might be nice to go into the schools and talk to young people on their turf as well.
Yep, happy to do some outreach to the school to get some coordination happening. And I know a guy on council that has a teenager that might be a good resource to get into some of those schools.
Yeah.
Doug?
There's also Karen Mueller, who works in probation. She had started a skate camp over the summer at Seven Hills, just sort of impromptu. So she's, really a big supporter of this effort and could probably add some resources or certainly identify, youth that skate with her. But
Great.
very good point. Thank you, Danielle.
Anybody else? Okay,
I was just going to say, I reckon if we're going to spend $1 million, we should not just aim for a really good skate park, but to lift the spirits of those who have been left dispirited by the state of things here
I get it.
Indeed.
in the skate community.
Yeah, I have every intent of making this the coolest skate park that has ever been designed. And
For $750,000.
Yeah, I was getting there. I realized we only have $750,000. But I've skated since I was little. That's actually me, wherever that was, skating.
we can't
Yeah.
see that.
Oh, yeah, well, it was up there. But I put the most lame-looking, humble one of not doing anything spectacular, so I didn't want to be braggy. But my
That's
point is,
you?
yes. Oh, yeah, I've skated
At least you had
since I was a little kid.
helmet on.
I've skated,
something else that
I
happened.
feel like every skate park all the way from here up to Oregon or whatever, and really studied and focused on like what makes a good skate park over the years. So I have some good ideas as to share, but I want this thing to be really spectacular and noteworthy. So that's my plan.
We're going to go on some field trips, right?
Indeed,
Some skate
yeah.
I'm gonna
So
close
I have
this out
some,
here.
I have some really good skate parks that I think will be a good place for them to start.
Okay, so I read through the design build RFP very, very carefully, as Lon knows.
Yes.
A couple of things I want to say is as I understand this, Lon, this will be a formal bid process, so there are things that we cannot dictate cost to with the contractor. They come back and tell us how much they're spending. We don't tell them what they spend on it. So that will work and that it will be an open process, and we will deal with as many bidders that respond. Is that correct?
Correct.
So it is a formal legal bid process, which binds us in a number of ways. I understand that you're all learning a lot about the bid process in the other location, and I'm not sure how that's going. But we will do it by the book, but we will also do it in an open process. The other thing I want to say is, please do not make the assumption because of a bad experience you had in another location that you will have that experience here, because you will not. We are different here. And we talk to our community, and we listen to our community, and we engage honestly and legitimately every step of the way. So I
We have
joined.
the record to prove it.
We do have a record to prove that, and we've got the scar tissue to prove it too. But we want to do this right. We care about what you think, and you will be included. So with that, I am looking for a motion from the council to get this thing out the door.
I move we approve the release of the RFP.
I'll second that.
Motion by Vice Mayor Klein, second by Councilmember Fleming. I'm getting my F's in this. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Cece?
Yes.
Councilmember Fleming?
Yes.
Councilmember Fernandez?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Klein?
Yes.
Mayor Peterson?
Yes, absolutely.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you for attending.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks, y'all.
Thank you.
Please sign up on the website.
Yeah, and sign up on the
website.
website. You will get notified of meetings. That's a really great way to make sure you know what's going on.
If you didn't hear that part, yeah.
/ skate park.
And he's Lon and I'm Sean, so you can find our emails on the
And you
website.
can also find us.
Reach
if
out
it's not-
anytime.
And if it's not going the way you want, let us know. We're happy to talk about it. Don't go anywhere. Lon, don't go anywhere. Okay, we are moving on.
Yes.
Item 11, consideration of, 1, the release of a request for information, RFI, for alcohol kitchen and cafe services concession at the Foundry. 2, the release of a request for proposal, RFP, for live music promotion at the Foundry. And 3, the release of a request for proposal for the Foundry outdoor dining project. Juan, you're on again.
Great. Lon Peterson, Assistant City Manager, this is item 11. So one of the things for the Miners Foundry that we've been focusing on is to create an economic engine for this community in addition to providing public value. As a result, there's multiple things that we're looking to do to move the Foundry forward. The first one is a request for information for food beverage services, which would be both the cafe, the kitchen services, as well as the bar. So that is one element, and I want to kind of specifically talk about that. And so while it's one location, that RFI is looking for information on particular people that want to come in and be a concessionaire in that particular space. You do not have to do all three. You can do a combo of all of them. If you want to do all of them, it is really an opportunity for people in this community, or basically anybody that wants to bring their business here and operate in the Foundry in its current state. We're looking for ideas to bring back to council to make decisions as to how to move that forward. So while we have in there 3 different particular pieces, again, I want to just be very clear to the community. It could be one or any of those particular things. Second, we'll do an RFP for live music promotion. So that'll basically be in the Osborne Woods Hall. We're looking to try to get somebody online to do music programming that hopefully can bring in 30 or more performances per year, and then move us out of just strictly kind of cover band type music. And while that's fine, we don't want it to be only that type of music in Nevada City. I think over the years we've been known to have a lot of different music happening. We want to bring that back to the Foundry. And so we're looking for a vendor that would go out and secure talent, manage those contracts, collaborate with us on the production of performances, as well as do the marketing for the particular acts that come in. And so again, all this, both the production as well as the marketing will be in collaboration. We have 15,000, I think, roughly emails for people that have signed up for notification for events at the Foundry, plus the city's efforts of our outreach. We'll continually do that regardless of which vendor is on there. We intend to promote our own stuff. And so there's a lot of that stuff is in the music production. We've outlined the equipment and things that we have, and so we're looking for somebody to come on to do that type of stuff. Third, we have an RFP out for, we will be putting out an RFP for the outdoor dining project. That will be in the courtyard area. right up front. That's right in front of the cafe. I just want to clarify that particular space is not for the cafe. It would be open to anybody that's using the Foundry, whether you're in the kitchen, bar, or you're at a show, or just walking by, you could go over there and just sit down and use that particular dining area. So that will create additional seating capacity, will also make it ADA compliant that's out there. It'll flatten that area out and hopefully improve the access into the cafe area. And so that project came out of the Miners Foundry originally. It went through it has a conditional use permit and a site plan review that was already approved by the Planning Commission. So we're looking to pick up that project, and the city is, again, just like the other one, looking to collaborate. We'll try to do some of the work ourselves to save money, but we'll go out for RFP for a contractor to come in and do some of the other grading.
Funding for that?
What's that?
With funding for a contractor?
Yes, did you?
Yeah, so it essentially comes on the back end of the transaction as the Miners Foundry nonprofit ends and resolves their assets and liabilities. We'll have already taken all the liabilities. They'll have an asset to distribute at the end that will cover the cost of the outdoor dining.
Okay. A mysterious asset, or?
It's the sale of, it would be, if we went through this process and you end up awarding a concessionaire agreement to someone, they'll achieve a new liquor license from ABC that'll be dedicated to the government-owned facility at the Miners Foundry, which leaves the existing nonprofit liquor license available for sale. And so that sale will allow the Foundry's board to achieve their vision of doing the outdoor dining just in a different way than they intended to do it originally.
Thank you.
To actually get it done.
Yeah.
Because this has been lingering for a few years.
Yeah, so some of the, to that, the cafe, there was work done on the cafe. It's not completely starting from scratch. While it's not done, there's definitely a lot of infrastructure and stuff happening there. So from a tenant improvement standpoint, it would be much cheaper to go in there and complete what's currently there if you were to use it in the same way, roughly. So the release would be out on June 2nd. We would look for responses back by June 30th by 5 p.m. with questions due on the 18th for this particular RFI.
Okay.
So with that, do you have any questions?
Public comment? Okay, we'll do public comment. For any public comment on this item?
Taller than me. Hi, everyone. My name's Sabrina Simmons. I've met a few of you before already. My partner and I toured what could be the cafe back in March and have been persistent at harassing very mildly Lon now and then to see if we could get any movement. I know, Lon. I owned and operated a very successful coffee shop in Oakland for 7 years, and I think this would be a great opportunity for the community to have something that's going to bring people into the Foundry, something that's open on a daily basis and can get a little bit more activity in this portion of Nevada City, because it does tend to get slow. The coffee shop that I owned was part of a nonprofit. I worked closely with a cat rescue, so we were the first cat cafe in the U.S.
Oh, wow.
So I have worked well with others. So I look forward to the opportunity to present a proposal and see where that lands. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Excellent. Any other comment? Any other public comment? Okay, back to the council. Questions?
Did want to highlight too that I will have 2 opportunities for site visits. So I created two sessions. One is June 9th from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. and June 12th from noon to 6, where I'll be there. I'm happy to meet with anybody during those times.
Can you say those again real quick?
Yeah, absolutely. June 9th, 9 to 2 p.m. June 12th, noon to 6 p.m.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
It's a brain thing. It's a little hard for me to visualize 3-dimensionally what the outdoor area will look like. There's a heck of a slope there.
Yeah.
And I can see the two-dimensional, but how does that? how do
Yeah,
you
let me
work that?
pull that up and.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, you gotta
Might
get
be
it.
helpful. I'm with you.
It's way down inside there.
Keep going.
Yeah, that's the presentation? Yeah, keep going. Keep going. All the way to the end, one more. Right, no, keep going, keep going. There's photos right there.
Yeah.
So this is the current door that you enter in. Have you been over there? Lou?
Yes.
You found it? Right here, it's actually quite flat, this area, so it comes down, it's kind of steep when you're up here on Spring, as you come down.
That's
it
Spring Street
flattens
right
out.
there,
This is
right?
Spring right here.
Right there,
As you
okay.
come down right here, it's relatively flat when you get into this area, and you can kind of see, starting right here, going like this, this would be a retaining wall to hold things back, so then it can actually be flattened out a little bit more. This little area here, can you go to the next photo? So, right here, you can see it's sloped a little bit from here. This will have to dig this down a little bit, and there'll be a retaining wall that comes across this. And this will be, while it won't be level, it will be flatter. And it will also allow for better drainage, so we're looking at opportunities to get water out going this direction. Does that help a little bit?
That does help. That is a kind of slope of death leading to that door.
Yeah, well, the second part of this, which is not a part of that, but there's an element here that, the slope that goes from there all the way down to the door, which will be another project in the future we'll be talking about. But for this, we're trying to solve some of the stuff that's happening right now, as it's already been approved.
Good, because when I walked by it this morning with my neighbor, she said, how are they going to fix that, the really steep part? And I didn't know the answer. Not yet is the answer.
Yeah, I did submit a grant for that to get funding for the design portion of a new accessibility element from the top of that down to like a new door. So you'll hear about that at future meetings. Good.
Yeah, this all seems extremely necessary since our staff isn't going to be running the Miners Foundry and all these components. Brian, do you want to book bands at the Miners Foundry?
Golden Shoulders, 30 shows a year.
Could just be the local
So
band.
it's really important to, that we find people that work well with us, the city, and also people that work well with the community that's going to hopefully be filling that space really often. So I appreciate the thoughtfulness here, and I'm looking forward to seeing who reaches out. And also, I feel like right now it's necessary for me to say that I am allergic to cats. Just in case.
Zyrtec.
It's all right, not everything's for you, Adam. I love cats. I have a question. Can you tell me a little bit about the process? Let's say we get an onslaught of applications and multiple different arrangements, because like you said, it could be all three, it could be one, it could be two. What does that process look like? Is all that information coming back to the council? Is it going through committee first? Is it, what's the plan for that?
It's a great question. It will definitely all come back to council. What's that?
Eventually.
Yeah, eventually it will come back to council, but first go to Sean and I to review and make some recommendations that'll come back to council.
So the biggest part of this is that this is a request for information.
Exactly.
So that we're not going to award anything out of this. It's information that will come back, it'll be filtered, brought back to the council. By filtered, I don't mean like eliminated anything, but kind of put into broad
Configurations.
categories of
exactly.
configurations that
Yeah.
might work or that you might want to entertain. And then ultimately, there'll be a recommendation from us, but the council will decide what type of configuration they actually want. And then that will go out to bid. And then we would award that specific configuration that you want to the responders to that bid. So what they're putting in for the RFI is not a bid, it's
Right.
just what they would like to do with the space.
Awesome, thank you for that.
Yeah, so we're excited.
They get two shots at it, really, right?
Yeah.
So if they get to say what they want to do, and then that helps inform your
I think this is
decision.
really important, and I read that it's in there, but it's really important that people understand. in the RFI, that they understand that this is not a final deal. It's just really important they understand that, because it's going to take some time and effort, so.
Yeah, it is in there. I can add
read
it to
it.
the,
I know
I can
it's
add
in
it to
there.
the front and make it very clear when we push out the information on that.
Daniela says I have to say these things because the public didn't read it.
It's true.
No, but it is a good opportunity for us to hear ideas that we might not otherwise think about. So I'm excited for to what's going to come.
You're right. You good? You good? Doug?
Yep.
You good? Yeah, so that's the one thing I wanted to clarify, that the RFIs will be consolidated in some way, shape, or form, and then reissued as a RFP.
Yep.
Okay. Great work.
Yeah.
I sent you my edits.
A lot of
so-
Yes,
RFPs,
thank you, appreciate it.
RFIs, that's
Yeah,
really,
there's
you're killing it there.
Well, Sean, yeah.
Well, not
it's a-
exactly.
It's a
He's
team
doing well.
effort. Lot of moving parts. I can't take credit for all of it, but thank you. We appreciate
No,
the
it's
acknowledgement.
headed in the right direction. It's exactly what we need to do, so.
Yep.
So.
And it's not just, sorry, Mayor, it's not just Lon, although he's the lion's share of it, and it's certainly not me, but, Brian and Lisa and Bethany and Shane and the Public Works crew and the crew
Yeah.
from the Foundry have all been involved in pieces and parts of this to make it all work. So it definitely is a team effort.
For sure.
Fantastic.
And thank you for our interested coffee shop party for continuing to show up.
Cat
And I-
Cafe, sorry.
Personally, I think you're going too easy on Lon, but that's okay. All right, looking for a motion.
I move we approve the release of the RFI and RFPs.
I second.
All right, motion by Vice Mayor Klein, second by Councilmember Cece. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Cece?
Yes.
Councilmember Fleming?
Yes.
Councilmember Fernandez?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Klein?
Yes.
And Mayor Peterson?
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
All right. We have done it. Okay, report and future agenda items, and I have run out of superlatives to identify our city manager, so just go, Sean. Thank you.
Awesome, Sean.
It just turned 9 o'clock, so I'll be brief. We'll get the information on the senior and low-income program on our website tomorrow, and we'll work with WM to set those engagements, or they'll be here to sign people up. We have staff that have gone through the process relatively recently and said it was very easy to do, so out in the county, we'll try to get her to move into the city when she buys her house, but so that will be ongoing work. The pool at Pioneer Park opens this weekend. So we'll be open weekend, Saturday and Sundays through June 15th. And then we're on for 7 days a week programming through the summer. So thank you to Dawn Zadanis, our Parks and Recreation Manager, who's kind of managed all of that on top of everything else that she already does for us. That's wonderful. Thanks for a great opening of the Champ Gallery this evening, and if you want to hear more about that or public art in general, join us next Wednesday here in City Council Chambers for our Public Arts Commission meeting, and I'll leave it there.
Thank you, Sean. Council members.
I'm looking forward to the inauguration or the launch of Pride Month with the flag raising at 4:30 PM out here on York Street. It's on a Sunday, yes, 1st of June. We will have part of the troupe from Fun Home, which is a fantastic production, by the way. Go see it. It's delightful. It's heartbreaking.
And that's this coming Sunday.
This coming Sunday.
Sunday. What you?
I don't know that I have many updates other than I want to take this opportunity to clarify that the school board trustee, Andrew Klein, is a different person than me because I keep hearing from his fan club. And just different guys, just altogether different human beings. Just want to really make that clear.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Thank you.
I hope that's the worst thing that happens to you.
On that note, Councilmember Fernandez, anything?
Worst things. Also looking forward to flag raising. It is our 5th annual flag raising in Nevada City, which is exciting. The congrats, thank you to the county for catching up to us. They passed a resolution for the first time this Tuesday. Well done. It's never too late. And I am off tomorrow to Anaheim to join the California State Democrats for their annual conference as an elected delegate. And yeah, we'll see what those jokers are up to.
You're glutton for it, aren't you?
I sure the hell am.
Really are. Councilmember Fleming, got anything?
So I think we talked about two of the things in our committee, which were the skate park and the waste management contract. And so you guys just saw everything that we saw and then some. So I got nothing newer than that.
Okay. Got to see the new demonstration home, home hardening demonstration home, headquarters for Park and Rec. Beautifully done, remodeled by our folks, did a great job. It's really nice. You should check it out. We kicked off, I'm so pleased to announce, Year of the Neighborhood. We kicked off, initiated the Pioneer Park Firewise Community.
Oh, nice.
Got some work to do, to bring people together, but we filed the paperwork and sent it to CAL FIRE for approval.
Good job.
So we're happy about that. And it's summertime and it's getting there. The park is getting highly activated. It's baseball season. Flowers are beautiful and it's springtime in Nevada City. It's getting better than that.
Nearly summer.
Looking for a motion to adjourn
I
this.
move we
then.
adjourn.
All in favor?
Nice work, folks.
Thank you, Nancy. Dean will see you in 2 meetings.